I knew it was over the second Greg from finance couldn't look anyone in the eye. His mouth said temporary restructuring, but his eyes said, I already forwarded your laptop return form. The whole company jammed into the main Zoom call like digital sardines, cameras off, mics muted, hearts thumping like a server farm overheating in July. Then it came. To maintain shareholder confidence, we'll be implementing surgical layoffs. Surgical, like a scalpel, like I was some kind of gangrenous toe they had to lop off before the infection spread to the stock price. 10 minutes after that call, I got the calendar invite. Touchbase W/management. No subject line, no context, no soul. My manager, Rob, who once asked me what a cron job was, mind you, greeted me with that corporate hostage smile and said, hey, listen, this isn't easy. That's always how they start. I'm supposed to clap for their bravery in reading a script. We all know your tools are brilliant, truly. You've done great work. But the board's pushing back on, what they're calling unnecessary overhead. Unnecessary overhead. You ever spend 6 years building a silent miracle that kept a company from tripping over its own data shoelaces, just to be told you're as vital as a paperweight in a hurricane? I kept my face blank, nodded once, and said, got it, because I knew if I opened my mouth, I'd either cry or ask Rob if he'd ever actually read a single line of the alerting logic I built that saved our platform during the great Log4j fiasco of 2021. No severance package worth mentioning. Just the standard corporate condolences and a cheap we'd love to stay in touch. I grabbed my coat, the same one I'd worn the night I slept under my desk during Black Friday traffic surges. The interns, kids I taught how to debug flaky API calls, were now somehow junior leads. One of them offered me a protein bar. I wanted to shove it into the recycling bin and scream. Instead, I smiled and walked. Outside, it was raining. Not metaphorically, actual Midwest February rain. That sad, sideways kind that slaps you like it knows you've just been fired. I unlocked my car, sat in the driver's seat, let out a laugh so sharp it scared the guy in the pickup next to me. On the way home, I did the math. My tools weren't company assets. I built them on my own time, after hours, on weekends. Most of my early logs and diagnostic routines were scribbled into Notion while my ramen cooled on the desk. All of it lived on my personal Git repo, licensed to me with timestamps, because I knew someday someone upstairs would decide efficiency meant cutting the people who built the damn parachutes. Before I went to sleep that night, after 2 bourbons and a hate watch of their latest press release, I logged into LinkedIn and updated my status, available for short-term consulting. Specialized in failure diagnostics. You'll know when you need me. And hey, since you've made it this far into my little post-layoff horror show, I've got a favor to ask. I'm chasing my first 10,000 subscribers here. If you enjoy watching Karma do push-ups in a pantsuit, go ahead and hit that follow. It helps more than you think. Now, back to the wreckage. I didn't pack much. Just my cactus, a coffee-stained mug that said, trust me, I'm the root cause, and the one leftover protein bar from that intern I didn't throw out because, let's be honest, I might need it when unemployment hits week 3. The real payload wasn't in my tote bag. It was what I quietly uploaded to my encrypted drive before they shut down my access. Every script, every dashboard, every anomaly detector I built that their fancy enterprise platform couldn't replicate without crashing like a toddler on Red Bull. The heartbeat monitors I stitched together from logging breadcrumbs and API latency reports. Rollback triggers I wired in after the database rollback incident nobody talks about because it didn't technically make it into the postmortem. I didn't take a single bite of their data. What I took, what was already mine, was the scaffolding I built on unpaid weekends, the logic trees I debugged in the dim light of my kitchen table while reheating 2-day-old lo mein. Not because anyone paid me to, but because I wanted the system to hum like a tuned engine. I took pride in spotting trouble 6 hours before it broke production. Flashback to 11:48 p.m. last June, I was in pajamas, Slack open, whispering into the chaos of a failing login server. I remember my partner standing in the hallway, toothbrush in hand, mouthing, "Are you serious right now?" I gave a thumbs up, traced the error spike, patched the handler, and saved them $180,000 in SLA penalties. I never even logged the overtime. Now they were telling me that my tools, my code, were overhead. The severance offer they slid across the table was insulting. It barely covered my laptop, let alone the 6 years I'd given them. I read it, then slid it back like a blackjack dealer folding a bad hand. "No thanks," I said, and the look on Rob's face was priceless. Like I'd just announced, I was joining a cult instead of opting out of his hollow corporate pity party. As I walked past the lobby badge scanner for the last time, I noticed something poetic. The status display on the kiosk, usually green, was stuck blinking yellow. A warning loop, unresolved error, no one around to fix it, just like what was coming. I got home and finally let myself exhale. Not cry, just exhale. It felt like my lungs were letting go of 6 years of whiteboard fumes and sprint planning meetings where nobody sprinted. My partner poured me a glass of wine. "You good?" they asked. I nodded, but inside I wasn't sure. My trust was gone. The kind you build when you believe hard work matters, when you think staying up past midnight fixing cascading failures will earn you something more than a pat on the head and a cardboard box. Still, I had one thing left, my brain. So I cracked open my laptop and posted, "Open to short-term consulting. Specializing in complex failure analysis." No fluff, no buzzwords. Just results. I didn't expect much. Maybe a few views. A pity like from that one guy who keeps trying to sell me crypto courses. What I didn't know was that post would age like wine, the kind that tastes best during someone else's disaster. For the first time in 6 years, I didn't wake up with a pager buzzing against my ribs or a Slack message screaming urgent, CPU spikes. I woke up to silence. Not the eerie kind, healing kind. No looming deployment windows, no Thursday stand-ups, just me, the dog, and the faint hum of a coffee machine that hadn't brewed panic in weeks. I took on a couple freelance gigs, simple stuff. Some API performance audits, container log reviews, a weird case of ghost alerts that turned out to be a junior dev copy-pasting test, keys into production, rookie move. But hey, I billed hourly. Nothing soul-crushing. Nothing personal. For the first few weeks, I thought maybe that chapter was closed. Maybe I could just live. I got used to making omelets without my phone next to the skillet. I started reading again. I even spent 2 full Saturdays in sweatpants that weren't crisis-related. But then the messages started. The first one was from Alex in QA. "Hey, not sure if you heard, but the new monitoring tool kinda sucks. Like, I think it missed a full service dropout last night. Anyway, hope you're doing okay." Then it was Priya from DevOps. "I still have your old dashboard bookmarked, just in case. I mean, nobody's really sure how this new vendor thing actually correlates anything." Then Jeremy, sweet summer child Jeremy, who once thought serverless meant no maintenance ever. They don't even send alerts until after customers start complaining. It's like flying blind, but with jazz hands. I started to piece it together, not through logs or metrics this time, but through people. Little messages like breadcrumbs from a broken system. Whispers that things weren't quite right back at the mothership. Users complaining about slowdowns. Support queues doubling in length. Engineering blaming infra. Infra blaming legacy integrations, which, for the record, were working just fine when I left. And every message ended the same way. "Miss having you here." Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't smug. Okay, maybe a little smug. But mostly I just felt this weird ache. Like watching someone repaint a house while ignoring the termites. You want to warn them. You want to scream. That's not how this works. But you're also sipping coffee in your own termite-free kitchen, so you let the silence win. One night, I was debugging a billing system for a startup in Austin, basic stuff, malformed currency entries causing report crashes, when my inbox pinged again. This time was anonymous. No name, just a burner Gmail. "You might want to check the error logs on the payment gateway you built. Looks like they didn't decommission it after all." Attached was a screen cap, my watermark, my code signature in the comments, still running, still catching errors that their expensive observability suite couldn't even see. I laughed so hard I choked on a carrot stick. They hadn't replaced my system. They'd buried it, kept it running quietly in the background while pretending their shiny new vendor had everything under control. Which meant 2 things. 1, they were lying to the board. 2, they were flying with a hidden co-pilot they didn't understand. And that's when I felt it. Not rage, not vindication, just anticipation. Like standing on a dry patch of grass, knowing a lightning storm is coming. I didn't know when the flash would hit, but I knew exactly where the fire would start. It started with a flicker. Not a boom, not a siren. Just a hiccup in the payment flow around 9:37 a.m. EST. A few declined transactions, a couple failed receipts, stuff that looks like bad Wi-Fi or impatient customers clicking too fast. But by 10:12, the transaction queue was choking. Logins started timing out. Product pages hung like they were waiting for a bus that wasn't coming. The support team thought it was a CDN issue. DevOps thought maybe it was a database lock. Infrastructure swore it wasn't them and pinged the app team with FYI, latency spikes from your side. What nobody realized, what I had built my career quietly anticipating, was that they were dealing with a cascade. A real one, like a line of shopping carts rolling downhill after someone sneezes near the first one. And by the time someone blinked, the whole damn hill was shaking. By 11 a.m., it was red across the board. Real-time metrics, frozen, alerting system, throwing up unknown statuses. The beautiful new AI-powered monitoring suite they bought after firing me, useless. The vendor's dashboard just displayed a cheery banner, all systems operational, as if the fires weren't licking at the foundation. Customer support was getting hammered. Clients screaming about double charges. Invoices missing. Whole user sessions getting dumped mid-checkout. On Twitter, someone posted a screenshot of their cart resetting 6 times. Under it, guess I'll buy from literally anyone else. Internally, it was chaos. Engineering called an emergency war room. App blamed infra. Infra blamed third-party services. The CTO apparently shouted, this wouldn't be happening if the diagnostic tools worked. And someone had to gently remind him those tools were, in fact, deprecated during the cost-efficiency realignment. The outsourced IT vendor, bless their hearts, responded with the kind of boilerplate you'd expect from someone who didn't even use the product they were supposedly supporting. Have you tried restarting the affected services? Can you reproduce the issue in staging? Yes, Carl, we'll just reproduce a platform-wide meltdown in staging. Maybe we'll serve popcorn too. Somewhere around noon, a VP made the mistake of saying out loud, maybe it's just a one-off. We should wait an hour and see, which would have been fine if the company hadn't just locked out 4,000 users during payroll processing. I got wind of it not through news alerts or LinkedIn posts, but through my inbox, 5 messages in a row. One from Jeremy, shit's hitting the fan. Big time. One from Priya, they're scrambling. Nobody knows what's broken. Honestly, it feels like a memory leak. Then a single sentence from Alex that hit like a gut punch. We could have caught this with your tools. One hurt more than I thought it would. Meanwhile, the board was breathing down necks. Clients were threatening SLA penalties, and I can guarantee some poor product manager was 2 seconds away from bursting into tears because someone in legal asked whether this counted as a data exposure event. It didn't, not yet, but they didn't know that, because no one could know that anymore. Their plane was in a nosedive, and they'd fired the only one who could read the altimeter. First call came in at 12:46 p.m. I was elbow deep in a half-eaten sandwich and not in the mood to entertain ghosts. But there it was, that number, the one still saved in my phone as company that cried overhead. I let it ring until it died. Then it rang again, same number, decline. I checked my email out of habit, expecting spam or invoices. Subject line, can we talk, urgently? From the CTO. No salutation. No emojis, just that flatline sentence sitting in my inbox like it had been exhaled under duress. I stared at it for a good 30 seconds. Could have deleted it, could have replied with a meme, could have printed it out and used it to line the cat's litter box. But no, I clicked reply, hi, I'm currently available for emergency engagements. Rate, $750/HR, 4-hour minimum, paid upfront. Plus $5K surge fee for same-day onboarding. DA goes both ways. You'll get the fix, I get the receipts. Hit send. Closed the tab, went back to my sandwich. The reply came 7 minutes later, agreed. Sending payment now. Zoom link below, thank you. And just like that, the power dynamic flipped. I set up in my home office, turned on the ring light I swore I'd never use again, and clicked the Zoom link. Their virtual war room looked like a high school group project gone to hell. 8 faces, most of them gray and blotchy from overhead fluorescence. The CTO looked like he hadn't slept in 2 days. Rob, my old manager, was also there, eyes darting like he was waiting for the ceiling to fall. Thank you for joining, the CTO said. His voice was hoarse, like humility was actively clawing its way up his throat. We're experiencing a major disruption and we'd appreciate your insight. I nodded once. Screen share. Now, they blinked. Then someone fumbled with Zoom permissions. Within moments, I had the logs up, and what I saw didn't shock me, not even a little. The memory usage was spiking like a bad acid trip. The same third-party module I flagged 8 months ago was still in production, still leaking memory like a sieve with commitment issues. Here's your issue, I said, circling it with my cursor. It's not new. It's just finally loud enough to wake the board. Dead silence. Rob, bless him, tried to open his mouth. I didn't let him. You replaced a predictive tool with a reactive one. You got alerts, not insight. And now you're surprised the dam broke. One of the engineers stammered, but the vendor said they fixed that in the last update. I just smiled. They didn't. I ran a quick patch, flagged the downstream dependencies, and gave them a list of what needed to be refactored immediately and what could wait until they stopped hemorrhaging user trust. Total time, 38 minutes. You'll see stabilization in under an hour, I said, closing my laptop. You're welcome. The CTO cleared his throat. Would you consider staying on? We can discuss terms. No, just that, one syllable, because it wasn't about money anymore. It was about boundaries, about not letting the people who once labeled me overhead pretend they suddenly saw value. I ended the call with a dry smile. Then I watched the live status page flicker from red to yellow, yellow to green. Sometimes Salvation wears a hoodie and charges extra for disrespect. Logging into that system again was like slipping on an old leather jacket, one that still fit like it was tailored to my spine, scuffed in all the right places. The interface had changed a bit. Someone had added a new font and buried my alerts 3 menus deep like they were ashamed of them. But under the surface, it was all still mine. My logic trees, my heartbeat pings, my silent little sentinels, blinking warnings into the void long after I'd been erased from the Slack channels. I tunneled into the logs first. Not the pretty ones they built for the exec dashboards, the raw stuff, the garbage data. I knew how to read that like Braille. Within 20 minutes, I'd found it. The same memory leak I flagged nearly a year ago, now inflated like a tick ready to pop. It was tied to a third-party module of those enhanced performance add-ons marketing, pushed to modernize user experience. What it actually did was hoard memory like a doomsday prepper and refuse to garbage collect unless manually prompted, which my tools had been doing regularly before they got tossed in the same dumpster as my badge access. I ran a few simulations in a containerized sandbox and confirmed it. The leak started during high-volume cycles, compounded by retry loops that no one had throttled. The vendor claimed it was resolved in their last patch. That was a lie. The kind of lie that only looks like optimism if you're paid not to check. I patched the module by introducing a manual memory flush trigger. Yes, old school, yes, blunt, but effective. I also wrote a temporary script to bypass the dead retry logic, redirecting traffic through a fallback cache I'd built and they never even knew existed. Think someone might ask why their whole order pipeline still worked that week the primary queue failed. But no, everyone loves a silent hero until she invoices them. The logs cleared, the CPU stabilized, response times dropped by 43%, support tickets stopped coming in like a biblical plague. That's when the CTO messaged me. Just saw the status dashboard. We owe you a massive thank you. I didn't respond right away. I wanted to. Part of me, some still wounded shred, wanted to scream, you don't owe me a thank you. You owe me a career back. But that wasn't true either. I didn't want the career. I wanted the dignity they'd tried to erase. And I wanted them to know they hadn't broken me. So I replied, glad it stabilized. The root cause is documented in the handover file I shared. Recommend removing the module entirely until a real fix is published, not the one their changelog pretends is stable. A pause. Then another message popped up from Rob. Hey, just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I pushed hard for the vendor replacement. I thought you thought cheaper meant smarter, I typed back. You were wrong, that was it. No snark, no gloating. Just facts delivered like a clean diagnostic. I ended the session, logged out, and made sure all my access was revoked immediately. Didn't want a key to a place that burned my desk the second they smelled budget cuts. Still, I lingered on the logout screen for a second, watching the system hum again. It didn't need me anymore. That was the point. It had what it needed until they forgot why it existed in the first place. And now they remembered. The invoice went out at exactly 9:01 a.m. Monday morning. PDF, bolded header, itemized breakdown with timestamps down to the second. Consulting fee emergency. 16 hours at $750/HR. $12,000 emergency surcharge. Same-day onboarding. $5,000 success-based uptime restoration premium, per agreed clause, $10,000 system documentation, plus root cause analysis report, $6,500 post-diagnostic security sweep, optional, declined, $0 administrative, NDA. retainer handling fee, $6,500 total due, $40,000 USD terms, paid in full within 3 business days. No net 30 games. The subject line reads simply, System restoration invoice attached less than an hour later. My inbox pinged. A reply from their accounts payable team. We were hoping for some flexibility on pricing, especially given the nature of our prior relationship. Could we reduce the success premium or waive the admin fee? I didn't even blink. I just dragged the signed rate agreement PDF into the reply field. Timestamped. IP logged. Their CTO's e-signature gleaming like a legal tattoo across the bottom. Then I added a one-line message. Terms were agreed under active incident conditions. You'll find the surge clause clearly outlined on page 2. Let me know if legal needs clarification. 10 minutes later, payment confirmation landed in my inbox. Full amount, no questions. No next time we'll handle this internally rhetoric. Just quiet compliance. The best kind. I closed my laptop and walked to the kitchen, poured myself some coffee, and leaned back against the counter with the smuggest grin my face muscles could conjure. Not because of the money, though 40 grand for 2 days of work doesn't exactly suck, but because for the first time in a long while, I hadn't just fixed a system. I'd made them feel the cost of disrespect. That same afternoon, the tech grapevine started buzzing. Somewhere on Reddit, someone posted a cryptic update. Rumor, the ghost of ops past returned to fix the weekend disaster. Billed 5 figures and vanished. On LinkedIn, a semi-viral thread appeared from a former coworker. You don't realize how much someone mattered until your whole platform dies without them. Props to the silent legends out there. A recruiter messaged me an hour later. We saw what you did. We'd like to talk, director level, remote first, 300K base plus equity. I didn't even have to think about it, appreciate it, but I'm good. Calendar's full and I sleep 8 hours now. Because the truth was, I wasn't looking for a new desk or a new boss with a newer brand of empty promises. I had something better now. Leverage. It tasted sweeter than any raise they'd ever refused to give me. Weeks later, I got a ping on LinkedIn. A message from a junior engineer still slogging through the trenches at my old company. His profile pic was that awkward half-smile of someone trying to look professional, but secretly drowning in TPS reports. Hey, just wanted to say, they're rebuilding your tools. Like, literally copying the whole dashboard and scripts, telling everyone they always loved that system, pretending it was their idea. I chuckled, swirling the last sip of Merlot in my glass. My home office, once just a corner with a laptop and a stack of unread books, now had a sleek sign on the wall with my consulting firm's name, Critical Path Solutions. Yeah, I named it after the chaos I once kept from collapsing. I clicked over to my website and added a fresh tagline in bold red letters. Unnecessary overhead, only until everything breaks. The irony wasn't lost on me. Meanwhile, somewhere far away, my old company posted a new job listing for a resilience specialist. You know, the same role I basically embodied for years, the invisible spine holding their systems upright while they argued about cost savings. I didn't envy the new hire, because they'd have to learn the hard way, just like everyone else. You don't see the value in the quiet ones until the lights go out. When that happens, the only thing left is who's got the fire extinguisher and who's just watching the house burn. My calendar, fully booked for months. Consultations, strategy sessions, code audits. All demand letters I send without blinking. The kind of respect that doesn't come with a severance or a pink slip. I lean back in my chair, light another cigarette, and listen to the hum of a system running smooth, because this time, I'm the one holding the keys. They fired the wrong person. And I made damn sure they'll remember it every time their servers hiccup. Big thanks, you legends of the old office days. Subscribe to keep the switch-flicking chaos alive. Your ex-boss is shaking in their loafers.